Guys, it's Rick. Welcome back to the HDVIBE channel. If you'd like to see more tips, tricks, rides, reviews, installs on my Harley-Davidson touring motorcycles, as well as information about motorcycles and the motorcycle community at large, I ask that you please hit that subscribe button. And when you do subscribe, please leave a comment down below saying I subscribe so I can personally reach out and thank you for supporting the channel. Also, don't forget to hit that bell icon and hit all so that you do get notified every time I put out new content. So today we're going to do a little moto vlog style discussion. It's a beautiful day here. I'm out in southern St. Charles County, and I want to cover a topic that sort of struck me in the last couple of weeks, and just wanted to share my thoughts on that. And it's really about what impact are you making on life or people's lives. So let's get into it right after this. So over the last couple of weeks, I've actually attended a couple of celebration of life services, visitations for two of my brothers that I ride with my motorcycle group here out of St. Louis. Obviously, both of them passed away, and they both passed away within a couple of week time frame. And, you know, I'm not putting this together to talk about or get sympathy or those sort of things, but I mean, I'm certainly have all the sympathy in the world for the families, because it's never a good situation when you lose a loved one, and especially these two men and what they meant to their family. And it really struck me as I sat with Ms. HDVIBE during both of these visitations and celebration of life ceremonies, and it made me think, what impact am I making on others' lives, or what impact are we making on society as a whole? And I just want to give you a few examples of the things that came through in these celebration of life ceremonies that I recently attended. So first and foremost, a little bit of background about these guys. I mean, I've known them for a number of years. I've ridden motorcycles with them. I've gotten to know some of their families over the years, one more so than the other. But in both cases, these guys were great people. And I knew that through the way they approached the group that we ride with, and they were both road captains. But it really struck me as I listened to the stories and the thoughts from families and friends that attended and said a few words on behalf of the family and the deceased. So these guys both had incredible impact on so many people. And I would say, for the most part, this impact was very, very positive. You know, in both cases, I would say these gentlemen were a bit of Renaissance type men. They weren't those that were so focused on one sole purpose, sort of in life or their career. They both kind of had varying seasons, if you will, to their life. You know, starting out, getting married, in their mid-20s, starting families. And motorcycles, in both cases for these gentlemen, were sort of central to that. But the thing that struck me in both of these discussions, or the thoughts that were shared about these gentlemen, as I said, they're both sort of Renaissance men. They've done many things in life, not super singularly focused. So I think what it did was their way of living and carrying on through their family and friends was really being kind of varied in their interest and varied really in their career path. They both made a number of career changes over the years, and they both had varying groups of friends that they did certain things with. And so I actually experienced that from obviously the motorcycle perspective. I was fortunate enough to take a trip about a year and a half ago with one of the gentlemen. He attended a trip that we went on, a motorcycle trip to Virginia. And the thing that struck me about him was he was always very inquisitive. And, you know, people would give him a hard time because everywhere we would stop, he would always read just about everything there was. But what I found out through these celebration of life events, at least in his case, was that that was the way he lived. He was a constant learner. He wanted to learn as much about life in the United States and the places that he's been and the experiences that he's had. And the way he did that was he took this information in and he really took it to heart and learned and documented and really carried on those experiences to his family and friends. And I think that all really comes through in sort of this Renaissance approach to how he approached life in the world and the impact that he wanted to make on people. And one of the things that was said, and oftentimes I think we think these things a lot, but we don't necessarily express them. But there was a story that was told about how he and his son were sitting in a pool, maybe at their house. I think it was at their house. And it was a beautiful day and a beautiful sunset and the clouds and the sun, and he was lounging in the pool with his son. And he made a statement to his son. He's like, "Son, this is what life is all about." And that really struck me. I mean, this gentleman, he would take in, all of the good things and try to live a life of gratitude. And I think that's the impact that he had on all of the people that were around him. Similarly, the other gentleman, again, another Renaissance man, he was extremely intelligent. I believe he had an electrical engineering degree from Texas A&M, worked in that field for a number of years, but then had the zest for doing a lot of different things over his life and impacting and meeting with so many people over those years. So some of the things he did, he was a greenskeeper at a private country club here in the St. Louis area. He started his own business and began to sell smoked jerky, which became quite popular here in the St. Louis area. He would attend festivals and fairs and craft shows and those sort of things to sell this jerky. And then he also had a store for a while. And then he also then went into selling this jerky online. But with him, the thing that impacted me, the story that impacted me the most was he had some heart issues, and he knew it. And there was an option to put a regular pacemaker in his body, on his heart, so that his heart would beat regularly, or a defibrillating pacemaker. So if his heart ever got out of rhythm, the defibrillator would automatically shock his heart and put it back into a normal rhythm. Now, the interesting thing about that, he's like, okay, well, you know, both are good options. Probably the best option for him from a medical perspective was the defibrillating pacemaker. But in all of his wisdom, and at the time, he was actually driving a school bus for a school district here in the St. Louis area. And one of the things that made his decision on which type of pacemaker that he was going to have the doctors put into him was the fact that he drove this bus and had such a relationship with these children that he drove on this bus route that if he went with a AED type defibrillator pacemaker, he could not drive the bus because that shock does not allow you from, I believe, a DOT perspective to drive a bus. In case that would actually happen, you couldn't safely drive. So the children in his life at, I don't know what his age was when he started driving the bus. I think he was in his mid to late 60s when he was doing this and had to make that decision, was driven by the impact that these children and the impact that he felt that they had on their lives, that he made really a life-changing decision, a very critical medical decision based upon what he thought his impact could be upon those children and the impact that they had on his life. So both of these men, really made me think of, you know, what impact am I having on the people around me, the world, and how can I make sure that I have a positive impact on my family, those that are around me, and what are the things that I can do to ensure that that impact is felt, and that one day, not that I want to move on to the next life, you know, through death, but what will people say about me? And I think we all as individuals really have to sit back and think, you know, what impact am I having on those around me and the world around me? And step back and be, I think, open-minded to understanding what are some of the things I can change in my life? What can I do more for others? And sometimes that just comes back with huge reward as we give back to others. And a lot of times this giving back to others comes back to us in multitudes. So with that, I want to wrap it up here with this thought. Life is short. Get out and ride the bike. Thanks for stopping by, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye now.